Hello, welcome back into the Road to Retirement podcast. Tony Marlett Jr., Brookside Financial, Zach Padden, and Selmo and Company Law. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well today.
Yeah,
We're going to
enjoying
talk
the
about
sunshine we finally got.
finally, yeah. Yeah, like my wife put on the air conditioning and I was like, we waited so long this year for the cold to go away. We had a rough winter plus spring really wasn't didn't feel like spring and it felt more like winter. And I was like, you're closing the windows and putting on the air conditioning. And we waited like all year for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's mid-June, and normally this is sometime in May we're doing this. I mean,
Right.
the weather patterns have not been normal for Ohio this year at all.
No, definitely not. If you have a two-story house, though, sometimes it gets hot at night on the upstairs. So I understand that. That's usually what we've been doing. But during the day, I think for right now, I like the windows open especially when it is not boiling outside and we waited this long for the heat to come.
Yeah, I would say nights, I think you're right. When your upstairs is hot, nobody sleeps well, everybody's cranky, and it does not
Yeah.
make for a nice, fun morning.
Right. What do we want to talk about today?
I think something we really need to address is the demographic of people who aren't just starting out or are not at retirement, those people in the middle, which is so many of us. We're kind of so much of the advice you see online is like, oh, when you first start, you should do this, or nearing retirement, do this. Nobody really talks about the people in the trenches. And I think that's something that a lot of people have no idea how to continue to grow their retirement accounts during that time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the same would go for legal documents too, right? You probably at least if you don't have anything started, want to get something started with it or fine tune it. So we'll talk today about what people can do if you're in your 50s and you're looking at retirement planning and estate planning. So one thing that jumps out to me, if you're in your 50s, kind of like you were saying, you're not ready to retire right now necessarily. You're not just getting started either. You're kind of in that middle, but you're probably a little past the middle because if you're assuming age 65 retirement, which I guess is standard now. Even if you have a part-time job in retirement, you're still going to want to get some things checked off, and there's definitely some things to take advantage of. For example, on the financial side, when you turn 50, in the year in which you turn 50, you're able to make increased IRA, Roth IRA, and or 401k contributions. So that is a big deal because as of now, 401k contributions, just say they're around 23,000 or so. Once you hit 50, you're able to put in an extra 7,000 of your own dollars into that. And that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine right now being able to put more into it and then seeing how that compound interest works. I mean, I think something that people always kind of forget is this money's hopefully going to grow for you. And the more money you put in earlier, the better.
Yeah, and it's payroll deducted. So a lot of times people are maxing out, say their 401k, or they think they're maxing out, but you know, once you hit 50, say if you're able to put in 23,000 per year, just you, not your employer, prior to age 50, and you didn't make any adjustments, they're not going to automatically max you out. You're able to put in an extra $7,000 per year for a total of around 30. And that makes a big difference. You have to make that adjustment though, but you can only do that in the year in which you turn 50. They're known as catch-up contributions. Same thing with an IRA. It's not quite as vast because you're only able to put in an extra $1,000 to an IRA or a Roth for a total of $8,000 for the year. But again, these are things that can add up over time.
Yeah, I was going to say, just putting in that extra money has to be helpful. Because, I mean, it's so
What's
easy to save, but if all
well,
of a sudden
yeah,
you're just putting in a regular checking or savings account, what's it really doing for you?
right. That's exactly it. And we talk about this. If you're just getting started out, you're probably, in all likelihood, the vast majority of people just starting out their first 401k are not even coming close to maxing it. That's hard to do. 23,000 per year. If you think about what you're getting paid, but that's a good thing to take advantage of. Assuming if you're in your 50s, you're into your career. If you're starting a new career, that might be a different story. So, what's a good thing for people to say look at on the estate planning side if they're just turning 50?
Yeah, if you're just turning 50, I mean, it's sad to say, but if you look at the obituaries lately, there's a lot of people who are starting to pass away in their 40s, 50s, 60s, more than I feel like ever before. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the statistics on that, but
Are you obituary guy now?
I keep an eye on them actually. It's kind of sad. I mean,
I
I
shouldn't laugh.
I used to look at the newspaper every day and you see them. Now you have to go online, but
Right.
you keep up on some local news and you see all these people who passed away, and a lot of people don't have anything in place. So just even having basic documents is good, and discussing like payable on death and transfer on death to make your family's life easier is really important to think about. So really at all ages, I mean I've said this before, there's no wrong age to have an estate plan. But if you're in like the years where you're gaining assets, you really should do a review of your life and see where these assets are going to go and make sure it's exactly what you want. Because a lot of times people don't realize what those beneficiaries actually mean. They just put somebody's name down and think, "Ah, I'll change it later."
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's
if
easy
you're in
enough.
your 50s, you might have kids that are maybe entering college or later in high school. Maybe your kids are a little bit older, and you may need to update those sorts of things. Maybe they're working now. Maybe they're not at the age anymore where they would need. You would know this obviously more than I would, but say if you're 50 and you have a kid that's 20, maybe they just graduated college. Let's say they're 22 and at their first job. Maybe they're a little more responsible now with money. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say with 22-year-olds, you're in a gray area. Some 22-year-olds are very responsible, and some are still living the glory college days and would blow through an inheritance. So with that, you really got to think about your individual kids. So depending on how your kids' spending and financial habits are, we can construct plans that fit your goals if something happens. I mean, we're hoping that we do all this and you live a long, healthy life, but estate planning is basically hedging your bets. Just like life insurance. You get life insurance hoping that you don't get it paid out.
Right. Well, it's a good. I like that. It's hedging your bets. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, my wife and I just got life insurance through work here with Tony, and I hope that neither one of ours gets paid out. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you're talking about, yeah. Right. Well, you're talking about a term.
yeah,
So
we did
yeah,
a
in
term
that term, in
policy,
that
and
time frame, you're right. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get paid out because that means one of us passed away.
Right.
So it's like estate planning. You do all this hoping that you have everything planned, but you hope that that plan doesn't come in play anytime soon.
Well, the good thing about the estate plan versus term insurance is the estate plan lasts an indefinite amount of time.
Yes,
So you put
correct.
something in place, but you do need to update it throughout the years because as you get older, and if especially if we're talking about people in their 50s, maybe your beneficiaries are older at this point, and things aren't the same as they were maybe 20-25 years ago when you first set these up.
Yeah, we get a lot of people who come in and they put their parents, say, as their executor of their estate. Well, their parents have been passed away for 10 years,
That's
or
a
they have a
that's a great
sibling they
point.
don't talk to anymore listed as the executor or power of attorney, and the last person they would want to make a healthcare or financial decision for them. So these periodic reviews, just like you do with a financial advisor, are very important for estate planning as well.
Right. And a lot of age 50 is Generation X, and Gen X is known as what's known as a sandwich generation. So you could be caring for young children and aging parents all at the same time if you're in your 50s. So that lends itself kind of a lot to what we were talking about. I think one other thing on the financial side, if you're in your 50s, keep in mind a couple of things if you're talking about retirement accounts. Number one, this is not if you're 50, but once you turn age 55, there's actually a little known rule. It's becoming a little more common, known as the age 55 rule in your 401k plan, which says if you leave your employer and you have a 401k and you are age 55 or older in the year in which you leave, if you need to take money from your 401k, you do not have to wait until you're 59 and a half to escape the penalty. Now, it's still taxable. So keep in mind, a lot of times with 401ks, as advisors, we talk about the benefits of doing a rollover. It's not always advantageous. And this is one of the exceptions where I think it's not advantageous, at least to roll over the entire amount, is if you keep it in your 401k, say if you leave your employer, keep a little bit in your 401k if you're age 55 or under 59 and a half, in that age range there, because you can take those withdrawals without a penalty. If you move it to an IRA, you have to be 59 and a half to take it without penalty. So keeping it in the 401 in case you need it, even if you don't foresee needing it, keeping it in the 401 if you're age 55 or older can have its benefits.
So the dumb question that I would have here is if I had just an IRA and left an employer at 55, would that count or would it have to be a 401?
No, it has to be a 401k, and that's the benefit. So if you have an IRA, it's a good question. If you have an IRA and you're 55, say you have no 401k, just your IRA, that even if you're still making contributions to it, you leave your employer, take money out of your IRA at 55, 56, anytime before 59 and a half, with a few exceptions, you're paying a 10% penalty, but there's no age 55 rule in an IRA. Of course, it's Roth. If it's Roth and you've had it for 5 years, you have to wait for 59 and a half too.
One thing I've noticed, and I think working in this business line more, I think we see it is how many people say, "Oh, I have a 401k," and it's actually an IRA, or "I have an IRA, but it's a 401," or they think they have a Roth, but it's not.
Yeah.
I think there's just so many different types of accounts that people get confused, and people use these terms loosely and interchangeably when it's nowhere near the same thing.
Absolutely. So that's a good point. I've had a lot of appointments, met with a lot of clients that have said, I have an old 401k, I'd like to move it over, and we'll set up a follow up to do it. They bring in the statement, and it's really an IRA, and I'm like, well, we don't make a call for this. We handle it totally differently. That's a transfer of asset or a TOA, which can be done electronically, which is a lot easier. So yeah, you're right. And we don't expect people necessarily to understand all these differences, which is why we're here.
Yeah, and honestly, it's so easy to be confused on it, and that's where bringing in statements and talking to your advisors are a good thing.
Yeah. Yep. Uh, anything. So 50, we talked about age 55, age 59 and a half is automatic, no penalty. So if you're 59 and a half and you have an IRA, you can start taking withdrawals with no penalty. So once you're 59 and a half or older on an annuity, an IRA, or a 401k, take a withdrawal, you pay no early withdrawal penalty. So 59 and a half is universal.
So is that one of those things where they should meet with an advisor and look through what their income streams would look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because there's no penalty doesn't mean you want to start drawing money, because people are living longer, Social Security's starting to wane, pensions are going by the wayside. So you don't just want to start taking withdrawals because you can. They're still taxable. Uh, if you need to take a withdrawal, it's your money. If you have to do it, you have to do it. But if you meet with an advisor, this is where we add value, I think, is this whole process is so overwhelming for a lot of people. You have all these accounts, and your entire career, you've spent maybe even your entire life being told, save, 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 save. Well, you get to a certain point where it's like, now I got to start spending this, and it feels wrong, and it's not wrong. You should spend what you have. You earned it. You worked for it, and you should enjoy. You should enjoy your whole life, but you should definitely enjoy, uh, the last part of your life where you're not working anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people just have no idea how that money can be used and how to get it, how it can make their life easier, and they just don't understand the benefits of how these dollars can grow and stay. So you're right.
Yeah,
I think meeting and adding value with somebody you trust and can discuss this with is so important.
yeah, and honestly, I think if you're I've always said I don't think if you're in your 30s or 40s, unless you inherit some money or unless you're dealing with a large sum, you don't necessarily need to, have meet with a planner, have be paying asset management fees for the rest of your life. I think that definitely I can confidently say that changes in your 50s. So that's another thing in your 50s you may want to consider starting working with an advisor on some of your assets. I think it's well worth it. Vanguard has a lot of they're known as a DIY firm, but they actually believe in the value of an advisor to the point where advisors can add 3 percentage points of value over time based on what their costs typically run out to or work out to. So usually you're paying asset-based fees, but we do a lot of financial planning, and this includes Social Security. So in your 50s, you may not be thinking of Social Security because the earliest in most circumstances you can file is 62, the latest is 70. You may want to start thinking of it, especially if you're married. Maybe your spouse is a little older. What's their strategy going to be? These are all things that we can help you out with. And I think in your 50s, it's time to start thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, and there's no time that's too early is one thing that I've felt like, in my opinion, to start thinking about these things. But you're right. I think 50s is that spot where you're getting closer, and you don't want to be trying to do these planning at 64.
Right.
Like, hey, I want to retire in a year. You want to start building your plan. So then if you do have a shortfall or we're seeing there's going to be an issue, we have time to make a correction.
Yeah. I think 50 is that age. I think any age that ends in zero, when you hit it, you're like, oh man. But I think 50's got to be the big one.
So not 30 when I hit it this year, not the big one.
I mean, it's still I remember it's still like eye opening.
Yeah.
I think anytime you hit a zero, 30, 40, I remember, and then, once you, I think, I just tend to think 50 is the big one. I don't know why.
No, I mean, you always hear about like the big 5-0. I mean, people make a big deal about it. And then every birthday is like not that important. I feel like after like 21
Yeah,
until you hit like the milestones of like 30, 40,
right.
50.
It's the zeros that get you, I think. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
feel any different. It's not like, necessarily you wake up and you feel any different on your birthday. It's just like,
I don't know. My surgeon told me I'm not 20 anymore when I ruptured my Achilles. So maybe there is some truth to it. Your body's not the same anymore.
oh, well, no doubt about that. No doubt. No
I,
doubt.
I don't know if he was calling me old or what he was really trying to get at there, but yeah, I was like, I'm not
Hey, you
that.
still got some athletic ability though, so
I
you
had.
should be
Right now,
grateful
I
for
don't.
that. Well, now, yeah.
I got a nice
Um,
little shuffle right now.
you like my 8-month-old. She doesn't crawl. She doesn't walk. She's past rolling, so she just does this little shuffle thing. So my 2-year-old gets around really well, but the 8-month-old, she just kind of like shuffles. It's almost like an army crawl. It's more advanced than rolling, but it's not quite crawling.
She's in between right now.
She's fast. She is quick. Like
Her,
you'll look at her for 1 second on the floor, take your eyes off of her, and then she shuffled all the way to the other side the next time you look at her. So these are things you're gonna find out, obviously. But
yeah.
it's funny to look at and fun and funny to watch.
Yeah, I mean, having two that young, I think, would be a little chaotic, especially when they're both on the go now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good. It's very rewarding.
Gotta have eyes in the back of your head at all times.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. So you guys will find out soon. It's nice to be able to. I received all kinds of little one-offs and advice from people, like things that are going to happen. When all this first started, and a lot of it turned out. I'd say almost all of it turned out to be true. But so it is kind of nice to like, I received all this for some time. It's nice to be able to
Yeah.
to
It's
to
nice to
give.
know people who have been through it recently. You're not getting
Sure.
advice from somebody who had a kid like 50 years ago. Back in my day, here's how we did it.
Right. Speaking of 50,
Yeah.
anything else on the estate planning side that you think people need to look out for when they're turning 50 or approaching 50?
I honestly think you just need to reevaluate. And as much as that is, if you haven't done it, do it. If you did one when your kids were first born, consider updating it because when you look at these documents, you're going to be surprised at what they say and who you put in charge. So it's worth a review and making sure your assets are in line to transfer easy.
Yeah, no, I think it's good if you take nothing else out of this, just meet with somebody. It's time for you to meet with somebody on the financial and on the legal side. Of course, at Brookside and in Selmo, we can take care of both in not necessarily one meeting, but in one place. And the two sides talk to each other. It we don't have to refer anything out is the nice part. So reach us on the socials, Facebook at Brookside Financial, YouTube at Brookside Financial. We have shorts, videos, things that we're updating all the time, our market updates. And I know you guys do quite a bit on the legal side for that stuff as well.
Yeah, and you can reach us at 216-485-1040 or our website, anselmolaw.com. And again, check out our YouTube and Selmo Law, and we're posting YouTube shorts and videos and clips and little tips and tricks.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So appreciate you joining me today, Zach.
Thank you.
And any questions on anything, obviously give us a call, stop in, schedule an appointment, reference this podcast. The consultation won't cost you anything. So on behalf of Zach and Anselmo, Tony at Brookside, everybody have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hello. Welcome back into the Road to Retirement podcast. Tony Marlett Jr., Brookside Financial, Zach Padden, and Selmo and Company Law. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well today.
Yeah,
We're going to
enjoying
talk
the
about
sunshine we finally got.
finally, yeah. Yeah, like my wife put on the air conditioning and I was like, we waited so long this year for the cold to go away. We had a rough winter plus spring really wasn't didn't feel like spring and it felt more like winter and I was like, you're closing the windows and putting on the air conditioning. And we waited like all year for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's mid June, and normally this is sometime in May we're doing this. I mean,
Right.
the weather patterns have not been normal for Ohio this year at all.
No, definitely not. If you have a two-story house, though, sometimes it gets hot at night on the upstairs. So I understand that. That's usually what we've been doing. But during the day, I think for right now, I like the windows open especially when it is not boiling outside and we waited this long for the heat to come.
Yeah, I would say nights, I think you're right. When your upstairs is hot, nobody sleeps well, everybody's cranky, and it does not
Yeah.
make for a nice, fun morning.
Right. What do we want to talk about today?
I think something we really need to address is the demographic of people who aren't just starting out or are not at retirement, those people in the middle, which is so many of us. We're kind of so much of the advice you see online is like, oh, when you first start, you should do this, or nearing retirement, do this. Nobody really talks about the people in the trenches. And I think that's something that a lot of people have no idea how to continue to grow their retirement accounts during that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the same would go for legal documents too, right? You probably at least if you don't have anything started, want to get something started with it or fine tune it. So we'll talk today about what people can do if you're in your 50s and you're looking at retirement planning and estate planning. So one thing that jumps out to me, if you're in your 50s, kind of like you were saying, you're not ready to retire right now necessarily. You're not just getting started either. You're kind of in that middle, but you're probably a little past the middle because if you're assuming age 65 retirement, which I guess is standard now. Even if you have a part-time job in retirement, you're still going to want to get some things checked off, and there's definitely some things to take advantage of. For example, on the financial side, when you turn 50, in the year in which you turn 50, you're able to make increased IRA, Roth IRA, and or 401k contributions. So that is a big deal because as of now, 401k contributions, just say they're around 23,000 or so. Once you hit 50, you're able to put in an extra 7,000 of your own dollars into that, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine right now being able to put more into it and then seeing how that